What up, YouTube? It's your boy GB here. I'm coming at you today with another deck profile. So I thought on my birthday that I would post a Cyberse Link deck profile. This is the deck I'm planning on running in the next regional. I feel like this deck is actually pretty consistent, but I feel Structure Deck Cyberse Link would actually make it a lot better. So thus I'm deciding to put it on the sidelines for now. Anyway, let's get right into the profile. Alright, so first you want to start by running 3 Cyberse Wizard, then 2 Draco Net. This is basically getting 2 monsters for the price of 1 as long as you have a normal monster in your deck. And on that, speaking of normal monsters, 3 Bitron. You always want to have 3 of these, and 3 of Draco Net. That we can link into Link Spider and all kinds of others. Now, Ram Clouder. This one is really important because you get to recycle the effective Firewall Dragon and cards of the like if you want. Say if you have Firewall Dragon in your graveyard and you have another Cyberse monster like say Link Slayer, you can just use Ram Clouder's effect to tribute Link Slayer, get Firewall back. Yeah, this is a really good card. On that note, the Cyber Dragons of the deck, 2 Link Slayer. Now, I had this at 3, but I decided to put it down to 2 because it was just kind of bulking up the deck otherwise. Now, one of the cards you should use in combination with Foolish Burial, Salvagent Driver. Yeah, basically get this in the graveyard, then when a monster is destroyed, you can bring it back, and then discard and summon monsters from your graveyard. Now, the attack power booster of the deck, Launcher Commander. Basically, you always want to have this out with your Link monsters because then it just beefs them up by 300 points. And with Signet Universe on the field, that's 600 extra points. Now, a card you can always summon if you have at least 1 Cyberse monster on your field. Backup Secretary. Yeah, say you need 1 more monster to link into Firewall Dragon, and you have only 3 monsters on the field. If one of them is a Cyberse, you can special summon this from your hand. Boom, instant Firewall. Now, the monster recycler of the deck, Stack Reviver. Basically, just use this as link material, and then special summon the monster that you used the link material with for this summon. Now, a card you should always keep in your deck, Max C. This really beefs up your hand and gives you a lot more options. You'll understand why I have that in a minute. I have it for this. Blackwing Gofu the Vague Shadow. Now this is really good to help you really get started. Basically, if you have this in your hand turn 1, summon it, link one of the tokens it summons into Link Spider, then summon a whole bunch of other monsters. Yeah, this is basically 3 monsters for the price of 1. I feel like tokens are really good in this deck. And speaking of tokens, Dandelion. Now, you always want to have one of these in a Cyberse deck, because this gets you 2 more tokens, and you can get Proxy Dragon, Firewall, all kinds of other monsters. Now, I have 2 of the rescue sets in this. First, Rescue Rabbit. Now, this I only have, okay, say if you want to normal summon it from your hand. If you have a Bitron in your hand also, then you can summon the other 2 from your deck with this. Link it to Link Spider, summon the 3rd Bitron from your hand. I'm honestly trying to make sure that the cards are centered here so you guys can actually see them. Then the card I pulled in the sneak, Rescue Ferret. Now this is really good because it gets, if you have say Draco Net and Dandelion in your deck still, this is a great way to get Dandelion out. Basically just summon this, then summon Draconet and Dandelion to the... So basically, here's one of my first combinations. Start off with Blackwing Go for the Vague Shadow. Summon it to the field. Get 2 tokens. Link 1 into Link Spider. Link the other token with Blackwing into Proxy Dragon. Then normal summon Rescue Ferret. Tribute it. Summon Draconet and Dandelion from your hand. Link all 4 into Firewall. And then, boom, Dandelion gives you 2 extra tokens to get, say, another Proxy Dragon. It's a really good combination. Yeah, I had this at 40 cards before, but I bumped it up to 45 because it just gives a lot more options. Alright, so that's it for the monsters. Now for the spells. Here I'll run 2 Signet Universe. Basically, recycle a monster back into the deck. Say, if you have Foolish Burial in your hand and Dandelion is in your graveyard, you can use this to get Dandelion back into your deck, then Foolish Burial it again to get 2 more tokens. Now, depending on the situation, you either want to run Signet Universe or Castle Link. Like I said, it's conditional, and you can fulfill both of those conditions at any time if you get a Terraforming into your hand, and then just play it, get both the field spells into your hand, then alternate them as you see fit. Now, a vulnerability of this deck is backfield, which is why you want to run 2 Twin Twisters. These are really good because you can discard a card like Dandelion, get 2 tokens instantly, and destroy 2 spells and traps at the same time. Now, recovery is also a big issue in this deck, so that's why I have a Soul Charge in here. Now, you might not be able to go into your battle phase, but you don't always want to go into your battle phase, necessarily, depending on what kinds of monsters you have. So, I consider Soul Charge to be very worth it. Upstart Goblin, you can get another card instantly, obviously. Every duelist pretty much has that card in their deck. Foolish Burial. And you want to run 1 Dark Hole, say, to nuke the field first and then start your plays. Now, I also have one more spell in here, Reasoning. Since this is basically monster-centric, and there are all kinds of various levels, most commonly 3 or 4, if your opponent doesn't know what kind of deck you're playing, then you can get a monster out instantly with this. Like, say, Rescue Rabbit or Rescue Ferret, something like that. Basically, this can really increase your options for link summoning. Alright, that's it for spells. Now for traps. Alright, back to the front. They're good recovery cards. The only problem is they don't work on link monsters since they have to be summoned in defense position. Alright, 1 Torrential Tribute. Now, if you have, say, Proxy Dragon out on the field, and another, say, Dandelion that's pointing to it, and you activate Torrential Tribute Dandelion with Proxy Dragon to negate all your monsters being destroyed. Your opponent's monsters are the only ones that get destroyed, and you get 2 bonus tokens. Alright, Solemn Warning. Basically, any card or effect that's activated, pay 2,000 life points, negate and destroy that card. So every duelist should have at least 1 Solemn card in their deck. Solemn Strike, Solemn Warning. To pay Solemn Judgment's banned still. Speaking of which, I wonder when the ban list is going to be updated. Ever since July, it's been stuck there. And lastly, Bottomless Trap Hole. Now, this is good because it banishes the opponent's monster, and it doesn't just send them to the graveyard, which means it's much harder for them to retrieve. I also feel like another good substitute for this is Storming Mirror Force, because, say, if your opponent uses a link deck, like a World Chalice deck, and you have Storming Mirror Force, then you can just activate that, return them all to the hand, but the extra monsters go to the extra deck, where they're much harder to retrieve. That messes up your plays. I've been burned like that before. That's why I've adapted that strategy. Anyway, that's it for the main deck. Now for the extra deck. Alright, start off with 2 Link Spiders. I had this at 3, but ever since Proxy Dragon came out, I put this and Honeybot down to 2 to fit in 2 Proxy Dragons. I'm also waiting for Binal Sorceress to come out. That's when I'm going to probably switch 1 Honeybot in there. Anyway, this is basically good because it has the potential to be summoned with just tokens or normal monsters. So if you get tokens out, you can... yeah, you get the point. Anyway, 2 Honeybot. Basically, neither player can target monsters that this card points to with card effects, nor can they be destroyed by battle. Now, I feel like that's a good thing with Firewall Dragon, but the problem is you won't be able to use Ram Clouder's effect on it. So, that's just one problem. 1 second. Alright, sorry about that. Alright, so next is Proxy Dragon. You want to run 2 of these because these are just generic Link 2s. You can summon them with anything, even tokens, so Dandelion's graveyard effect is basically instant proxy dragon. Alright. And you want to run 3 Decode Talker. It's the generic link 3. Basically, just combines effect monsters. So basically, just if say you have Blackwing, go for the Vague Shadow, and link the 2 tokens into Proxy Dragon. Link that Proxy Dragon and Gofu into Decode Talker. And 2, well, you can run 1 if you have 1, but I have 2 Firewall Dragon. And I still have both the ones that I pulled. Yeah, this is great with Decode Talker. Not only even if it doesn't point to Decode Talker necessarily, the effects of both of them are great. Basically, Decode Talker contribute a monster next to it that it points to negate an opponent's monster effect, and Firewall, whenever a monster like that is sent to the graveyard, special summon a monster from your hand. So basically, since Decode Talker's effect is not once per turn, just many times per turn, and so is Firewall, basically you can keep, as long as you have monsters in your hand, you can keep this combination going. I call it the Firecracker combo. And in some instances, Topologic Bomber Dragon is handy in here. Say, if you can only summon a Link 4 monster, you have an option to prevent your opponent from summoning Link monsters, or at least dissuading them from doing so. Now, the Dandelion tokens can be linked into Mises Radiant. There's also a bunch of other Earth monsters in the main deck, so this is summonable, so that's why I run 1. And as for the non-link monsters, the attack-boosting Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, and the card that shuffles cards back into the deck, Castell. Alright, so that's it for the extra deck. Now, as for the tokens that I run the 3 from the Legendary Decks Collection 2, and the most recent Megatons set. So, yeah, these are all really nice limited edition tokens. Yeah. And for the side deck, I have 1 Salvagent Driver, 1 Link Slayer, 1 Fairy Tale Luna. Now, you want to run one of these because that way you can bounce it and another one of your opponent's monsters back to the hands, back to their respective hands. And in some instances, you want to have a second Gofu, say, replace it with one of the Link Slayers. If you have no normal monsters in your hand, if you have no Bitron, run 1 Painful Decision in your side deck. That way you can always get one, and you can have one in the graveyard to summon, if you need to. Alright, Cynet Universe. I run 3, 2 in the main deck, 1 on the side. Now, Scapegoat is really handy. It's basically an instant firewall if you play it on your opponent's turn, or at the end of your opponent's turn. Now, I already mentioned Storming Mirror Force. I run 3 Strikes Barrier. That's basically defending your monsters and your life points to buy you some time to do some more Link summoning. Alright, Heavy Storm Duster. It's a shame that Heavy Storm and Harpy's Feather Duster are both banned, but this is basically a sort of hybrid of the two. Since links are so popular, Break Off Trap Hole. Alright, 1 Link Spider, 1 Honeybot on the side deck, and 1 Gaia Saber. Basically, go through the Vague Shadow is basically instant Gaia Saber. And lastly, Starliege Paladynamo. I run this because if it's destroyed, you can just draw 1 card. So basically, Ram Clouder. If you destroy this and get Firewall Dragon, you get a card in your hand to boot. So that's it for this deck profile video. If you guys like this commentary and you're new to the channel, please click the like and subscribe buttons. Every subscription helps my channel grow just that much more. I'm gonna start making my preparations for tomorrow's Philly Regional. I'm gonna record then. But until then, this is Juby. Peace out.